when you were a detention officer, were there cops who had come through having been charged with some sort of crime or something like that in your tenure?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so when those cops came through, well, what was your attitude about them?
Well,
Now, I know you said earlier that you don't judge people when they come through, whatever, but this is a cop now. This is somebody who took the same vow that you took.
Yeah, but
same oath.
You know, when I saw officers come through the system, man, I did my best, you know, just to make them comfortable, you know, because as a professional, even though it's not my job, you know, to say, oh, well, you're guilty of this crime that you've been accused of. It's not for me to decide that. My job is to remain professional.
That's right.
You know, my job is to say, hey, okay, let me put you over here to get you away from regular inmates. Can I get you a bag sandwich, or can I do this, or can I do that? It's not for me to formulate an opinion about that person, because I don't know the logistics of what transpired, because I've seen people get set up on numerous occasions, you know, and that, you know, who's to say that person has committed a crime? It's not for me to determine that. My job is to remain a professional, and that's what I did.
So when you behaved that way towards a cop who had been brought in charged with some sort of crime, how did your coworkers respond to you behaving that way towards someone who was accused of having crossed the line?
Well, you know, one of the things that they need to go back to training, man, because they teach you that when the inmate is actually incarcerated, they refer to them as lowlives and scumbags. You know, that's one of the terminology that needs to be immediately removed from the academies. You know, because not everybody who come into the system is a lowlife and a scumbag, and it's not for you to formulate an opinion about a person, not knowing the logistics of what that person, he or she, has done. You know, because watch this, my brother. Do you not know that Internal Affairs never called me in before they arrested me? They never called me in to give me a guarantee statement, which is a violation of my due process and my constitutional civil rights. They never asked me anything in reference to the situation.
So you mean prior to you being arrested and charged, they were required by law to come to you and say, this is what's being said, and we would like to get your take on it, whatever. There may be some legal proceedings behind this, you know, depending on maybe what our findings are, whatever have you. But this is, we need to address this. That was supposed to happen and didn't happen?
Absolutely. Internal Affairs has a fiduciary duty that if a man or woman, if a female deputy or male deputy goes out and commit an offense, you have to bring that person in. There's video and audio. You swear them in, you know, to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Once they swear you in, they give you a guarantee statement. And when they give you a guarantee statement, they give you an opportunity to speak about the crime that they said that you committed. At no time did they ever call me down to Internal Affairs, which is a direct violation of my constitutional civil rights and due process. You can't do that, man. And they never called me in.
So that again sounds like another level, another layer of complicity, another component of this conspiracy to get Ray Hicks.
Yes.
So you being a law enforcement professional, you understood every time a line was crossed. And when something that was supposed to get done didn't get done. So you understood further and further, more and more, that there's something really going on. Like, these people trying to get me.
Yeah, they trying to take my life, man.
It's everybody.
Yeah, they trying to take my life. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when I arrived at the Federal Detention Center, they put me in an orange jumper and they took me up to the 13th floor, which is called the shoe, the hole. And I stayed there for 5 months.
In isolation?
I stayed in, 5 months.
Isolation for 5 months?
23 hours a day, 1 hour a day for recreation. 5 months.
And recreation is by yourself, isn't it?
Yes. You go outside by yourself. You don't go out with anyone else.
Okay. So you've never worked at the Miami Federal Hold before. You worked at the Broward County Detention Center, right?
That's correct.
So the things you were being subjected to, as far as you knew, were they commonplace for somebody with your charges under those circumstances? Not necessarily a law enforcement officer? Would they be subjected to this degree of severity?
Well, they're supposed to separate you from, from the regular inmates, and
As an officer?
as an officer, yeah.
Okay.
Like if they have someone like protective custody, they put you with individuals like that. But they're not supposed to put you in no freaking hole for no 5 months, man. And every day the freaking officer was jigging at me. They were saying, you that effing cop, I hope you're gone for the rest of your life. And I told him, I said, I'm an innocent cop and I shouldn't even be here. Yeah, that's what they all say. I said, I don't know what they all say, but I'm telling you what I'm saying, that I'm in here for something that I did not do. And they just, every single day, I wouldn't even eat my food sometime because I felt like they would spit in the food, And if it wasn't a hamburger or a hot dog, I'm not going to eat it. If it's anything that mixed up, I don't want it. I don't want it, And it got to a point that I started doing like 1,000 and 1,500 push-ups every other day because now I'm conditioning my body and I'm conditioning my mind, man. Because at some point I feel like I'm gonna have to fight with these feet because every single day they were jigging at me. So I started pushing the emergency button, and the hole they got a red emergency button, and you want to push that button for emergency, and I just kept pushing it, Because right now I'm ready to fight with all of them because I'm ready to go to war now,
Right.
Because number one, when you've been in the hole for quite some time, I tell my wife, you all would never understand, man, the magnitude of, just being there by yourself every single day. It seems like the walls are caving in on you. You start hallucinating, like, it's just, it's unimaginable, man. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And it got to a point where they took me to Mr. Fernandez, and they wouldn't even give me a phone call. You can only call your lawyer every 7 days. And it's up to him to put you on the call with a 3-way with your family, Yeah, so he said, man, why are you threatening my staff? I said, I'm not threatening your staff, sir. Your staff is constantly threatening me every day or every other day. I said, I haven't even talked to my wife and kids. So he gave me a phone call, and just to hear my wife and kids' voice, man, was just
salvation.
Yeah. You just ask yourself, like, here it is, you've been with your family for all these years, man. And all of a sudden, you're taken away from them.
You made it despite what they intended for you. I guarantee you that 99% of the so-called men who subjected you to these circumstances would not have fared as well or anywhere near it. They would have cracked. They would have broke.
Exactly.
They wouldn't be sitting where you are right now.
No.
That's a fact.
No. As a matter of fact, I've had cops tell me, man, I would have killed myself. I said, what do you mean killing yourself? Oh, man, I can't take this no more. I said, I lost everything. I said, but you haven't lost your life, So to be honest with you, man, I thank God for my upbringing because I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, my brother.
Yes, indeed. So let me ask you, man, because this is interesting. Because now you're having the experiences as a member of law enforcement and corrections that you obviously never would have anticipated having as a man who operated with integrity, honesty, and decency. You never would have made the kinds of choices that would have lawfully put you in that position. Like a person who lives a criminal life and who knows they could face these types of circumstances, believes, at least in their mind, that they are prepared to be subjected to these things you were subjected to. And 90% of them are not. You've worked in those places, so you know that. They're tough as they can be until it's just them, their thoughts, and them walls. So when you were working in detention, did you ever think about what a person that you had placed in the shoe might be going through? And if so, how did you deal in response to that?
I'm glad you asked that question because there's a gentleman by the name of Martez Bell. And Martez Bell was an inmate, and you would think that he was a professional bodybuilder because that's how he was huge. And he was faced with like 75 years, and they had him in solitary confinement and on the 8th floor. And apparently he wanted to go out for recreation, and they refused to take him out to rec, And of course, anyone that been in the hole, man, and been in there for quite some time, you need to get him out. You got to get him out of that place, man, because that 1 hour make a tremendous difference. And of course, they refused to let him go out. So what he did, he actually pulled the toilet up out the floor. And they had the emergency response team respond. And of course, I was a member of the emergency response team, the ERT.
Go ahead.
Yes, and of course, they responded, and they was afraid to go in. You know, even though they was all suited up, you know, because what he did, actually, when he took the toilet up out of the floor, water everywhere, and then he got a pipe, you know, and he told me, he said, come on in here.
Mm.
Yeah, and they was afraid that I should go in there. So when I got there, I told him, I said, open this door. God is my witness on everything I love. And anyone that worked at the sheriff's office would tell you, man, you know, they remember these incidents that I'm explaining to you. So, of course, I said, open this door. And they said, no, Deputy Hicks, man, listen, Martell's got an iron pipe, you know, no, you're not going to go. I said, LT, listen, man, I could talk to him. And when I walked into the unit, just to show you, just my presence alone quell situation. Now, I don't want you to take my word, but we can get other inmates that said to me that they willing to come and speak to Vlad TV and everybody else about who I am and how I inspired them. So I went into the unit and I said, Martell's, go to your room, man. He said, man, yo, Hicks, man, no. I said, Martell, listen, man, go to your room. So he went to his room, and the whole team now standing by on the outside of the door. They're all geared up and everything, riot gear and all. I can show you my pictures of my riot gear, you know. And of course, I go in there, I said, Martell, what's going on, man? And he said, Hicks, I've been asking these people to let me go out to recreation, man, you know, and they refuse to let me go out. And I said, why are they refusing to let you go out? What did you do? He said, I haven't done nothing. I just asked them to let me go out for my hour. So what did I do? My brother, I went into the control room. I talked to the control, because you got a housing deputy and a control room deputy. So I talked to the control room deputy, and I said, listen, when was the last time you guys allow him to go out to recreation? Let me see it in the log. Because every time an inmate goes out to recreation from solitary confinement, isolation, you have to put it in the logbook.
Right.
The time and the date. And when I looked at the log, they hadn't let this man go out for rec in a long time.
Mm.
So it just kept building up. And I asked him, I said, well, why do you not let him go out to rec? Oh, because, you know, when he goes out to rec, he don't want to go back into his unit. I said, but no. But I'm asking you a question. Why do you not let him go out to rec? Because you guys brought this crap on. That's what you did.
That's right.
Because you refused to give him what's due to him. I said, you guys can't do that, man. Well, we just felt like he wasn't going to go. I said, well, how could you feel like he wasn't going to go in the cell? Did he show in the indication that he would not go back in his cell? I said, come on, man. So when I talked to the sergeant, I told the sergeant, right? And even though he had to stay up there for extra time because of the destruction that he did to the facility, right? But the only thing he wanted to do was go out to recreation, to get out that cell for 1 hour. What people don't realize, my brother, you go in your bathroom and you stand there for 24 hours, 23 hours a day in total darkness, and then you come back and tell me how you feel about the 1 hour that they give, that they're supposed to give you. Trust me, it's going to make a tremendous difference. And a lot of people don't understand that, man.
Yeah.
And they gave him his hour, you know, and it just goes to show you, I walk in there and I quell the situation. You got the whole emergency response team waiting by, you know. I walk in there and they telling me, no, Hicks, do not go in there. I'm like, I'm going anyway. So, of course, I did exactly what needed to be done. And we gave him his hour rack.
Right. You were being charged with a conspiracy.
Yes.
But you can't be in a conspiracy by yourself. So who were Barry and Bernard Smith?
Those guys were actually gentlemen that we all worked out together. They owned a warehouse where they had all kind of weight material, and it was like the state of the art place where you could play pool. They had a refrigerator where they charged you $2 for like a Heineken beer. It was just like a place where you hang out at. They watch cars, and we all lift weights. And back then, I'm benching almost 560 pounds, man. To this day, I'm still benching 400, and I'm 58 years of age right now, and I'm still benching over 400 some pounds.
That's crazy.
You understand me? So we all worked out, man. That's all we did. They had professional athletes from Washington Redskins, the Miami Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys, and all these other different teams, and they had other cops that was there. But they tried to say that we had some drug thing going on, and it's because of this freaking dude, Ansel Pratt, who lied and said that that's where the 350 kilograms of cocaine came from, was Ansel Pratt. He was the one who lied. And if you look at my book, you're going to see where it said the source said that I purchased Barry Smith Mercedes-Benz. My wife and I bought that car from Car Corps. I traded in the SR5 4Runner. We paid $37,000 for the car. Don't take my word. Look in the book, and you're going to see everything there. Then he lied and said that there was. How about this? So they offered me 16 and a half months. 16 and a half months. But before they offered me the time, I meant to back up. They put me down in general population. Now, you and I know that that's a death threat to an officer.
They were trying to knock you off.
Well, they put me down in general population. I was there with 8 guys who I had arrested or I was over when I worked in the jail. And every last one of them gave me the utmost respect. But then here come this one dude out of Dade County talking about, oh, you that effing cop.
Dade County.
And he saw my picture paraded over the newscast. So one of the dudes that know me, we call him Blind because his glass is real thick, but his name is Maurice. So Blind said, man, you know what that is? Man, that's Big Hicks, man. He come from where we come from. He gonna thump. You tripping. So I go to put my bedroll down, and in the process of me putting my bedroll down, there's 122 inmates. There's an upper tier and a lower tier, one officer. So they all gathered around the door, and as I went to go put my bedroll down, I turn around, there he is in the door. So the inmates was like, big man, you running your mouth. So he was like, man, I hate effing cops. I said, dude, you got a problem with me? I said, if you got a problem with me, you come on in here, we can handle it. Come on in, close the door, we can handle this like men. So, with big guys, they always try and grab you.
Mm-hmm.
So, when he went to grab me, I went to shoot so many missiles at his head, man. When he hit that floor, I literally tried to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to put my fist through his brain, man. Blood gushing from his face like a faucet. And they all of a sudden they gave me the name Big Homie. Come on, man, you gonna kill him. And when the officer came up there, everybody just dispersed. Everybody just ran. But I really want to finish him though, to be honest with you. Because back when I was in the feds, we had a sardine can with that lid on it, and I took that lid from that sardine can, man, and I kept it in my green jumper.
Sharpened it up?
I want to cut his throat, man. To let him know, don't you ever play with me, man. You crazy?
Let me ask you, bro. The impact, psychologically and emotionally, from the experience you had. The betrayal, the paranoia that must have come from all the things that happened with people whom you were working with at one point, and then to be subjected to the conditions and circumstances that you just explained. How did you fare psychologically and emotionally, even up till today?
I began to pray, man. And I begin to fast, and I begin to build a relationship with the Lord. And I think about my wife and my kids and my mother, and my close friends that have been there for me, And to this day, it inspired me. It motivated me. And I asked God, I said, Lord, why me? And God said, why not you? I need a good shepherd to go get my sheep and bring them unto me. He says, when all revenues has been exhausted, that's when I'll begin to manifest myself. Most people would have lost their mind if you hear just a fraction of the stuff that me and my wife and kids have gone through. But through it all, I truly believe that God gives his biggest battles to his strongest warriors.
Right.
And I'm humble as a dove, I'm vicious as a lion, but I feel like I'm an eagle. I don't run away from storms.
Eagles fly into storms.
I go into storms.
That's right.
I go into storms because the storm, it takes the eagle higher. So I ask God each and every day to take me higher so that I can be able to help others.
Who is Ken Jenny?
Ken Jenny is the former sheriff of the Broward Sheriff Office.
What's your history with him?
He was actually our sheriff during the time. In 1999, this man gave me a Gold Cross Award when I risked my life doing an armed carjacking. And I didn't even know I walked into an armed carjacking. There was this taxi cab driver that picked up this young man, according to the report, off a assist trunk. And when he got into the car, he had the taxi take him up off of 21st Avenue in Oakland Park. He goes up to the apartment and retrieve a gun, come back downstairs and make the taxi cab driver get in the passenger seat. And he took the driver's seat. He was robbing the taxi cab. And of course, I happened to be coming down the street and the light was red. So when the light turned green, I saw the taxi merge into the fence. So I saw these two black guys fighting. So I said, I was in civilian clothing. And I said, let me just stop and break up this fight. So in the process of breaking up the fight, because they wrestled outside the car, I discovered they wrestled over 357 Magnum. One round went through the roof of the car. The subject took a chunk out of the victim's eye. But going back to my training, my thing was to secure that weapon. I took the gun from him. And I have the report even show. And of course, I got on the phone because the subject took off running. They both were saying, he's robbing me, he's robbing me. So me not knowing who's who, and when the subject took off running, I got on the phone and called communication, 911. And I advised a signal 041 that transpired, and I need to set up a perimeter. And of course, they are later arrested that 18-year-old. Ken Jenny was the sheriff during the time. He gave me the Gold Cross Award. The very next year, 2000, June 15, 2000, he was the same sheriff that tried to put me away for natural life imprisonment.
Exactly. Who is Bernard Brown III?
Bernard Brown was the gentleman who actually arrested me. And of course, they come to find out that all the information they said I was given, it led up to him. When they said I was giving confidential law enforcement information, FCIC, NCIC, because I took my case to trial. And this is after they offered me 16 and a half months. They said, you've been down for 11 and a half months. We'll give you 16 and a half months, but we want to give you a 5K1 and immunity if you testify against these other 6 people. I told them, I'm not testifying against nobody. If they did wrong, you're going to get them, but you're definitely not going to use me. I haven't done nothing wrong. So I told them, no, I'm not taking no time. So anyway, make a long story short, we get the trial on August 27th of 01. They chose all white jury, 11 whites, 1 black, and 1 black alternate. And during the course of trial, they begin to ask questions. Where are the drugs? No drugs. Where are the money? No money. So why is this man here? They lied and said I was giving confidential law enforcement information, FCIC, NCIC. Communication operator testified, Mr. Hicks has not been running this information. Then they lied and said I was on audio tape. So when they played the tape for the jury and the judge, it was the same deputy who arrested me. It was Bernard Brown. And he was promoted to a higher rank.
He was caught on surveillance tape, on the wiretap, having given confidential information to a non-law enforcement individual, and he was promoted?
Yes, they always promoted to detectives, sergeants, lieutenants, captains, lieutenant colonels. They always promoted.
So you could have taken the 16 months, and had you taken the 16 months, you'd already served 11. You'd have had to serve another 5, but you would have had to make up a story that they would have had to give you the script for, since you didn't have any actual involvement with whomever they had charged with these illicit acts, if they were even involved with any illicit activity. And all your co-defendants were melanated people, right?
Yes. And the thing about it is that what you just said is a lot of times that's what the system does. That's why I put in my book, so many people are forced to plea bargain to avoid facing increasingly hard sentence because they cannot afford these high power attorneys, so they take a plea. There is no taking no plea with me. If I'm wrong, if I'm guilty of something, then I'm guilty of it. If I'm right, I'm gonna stand on right, man. You know what I mean? I'd rather for you to take my life because you're not gonna convince me to say that I did something wrong that I know I didn't do. And I'm not gonna go in there and lie on somebody else just because you want to give me a downward departure. And that's what a lot of these people do, man. Because you know, when they telling you that you face for natural life imprisonment without possible parole, and they telling you that they're gonna give you 16 and a half months, you've been down for 11 and a half months, you'll do 3 more months and go home. You know, I mean, you listen, but one thing is for sure about me, but my mom told him, she said, I put my head up on a chopping block. You can't show me that he committed these crimes, because not him.